from Coppish. How are you, mate?
Not too bad. Well, been better, isn't it? Being a Liverpool fan over being a Liverpool
Bro,
fan over the last 24 hours has been a bit of a mad one, bro.
it's been
You
a
loved it. Look
rare
at you. You're struggling to hold a smile, and look at you, bro.
mate. We're recording, so everyone understands. When we're recording this, I've been awake for like 20 hours. I've been traveling, aeroplanes, everything. I was not missing out on this opportunity to visit out tonight. No, I am. Do you know what it is? Him leaving is a good thing for Man United. It's a good thing for everyone who's a rival of Liverpool because, look, I still don't think he's a great defender, but the level of playmaking and quality that Trent brings is it's the best we've ever seen from a fullback, and it is up there with the Beckhams and the KDBs, the Gerrards in terms of his passing and crossing ability. So of course him leaving is great for us. But I am enjoying watching the meltdown. And in fairness, I've not actually seen any of your takes yet. And I purposely stay away from it, knowing that we're going to record so that it does feel fresh and organic.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of Liverpool fans I respect kind of be level-headed. But it's the ones that are asking for him to get knocked over by buses,
Yes,
people
crazy.
trying to take away his legacy, burning shirts. It's a mad. What have you made of his decision? Do you feel like he's been a rat and that he's done you guys dirty, or do you understand why Trent has done this?
There's so many ways to unpack this tell. So from a human standpoint, we always in life try and elevate, right? So if you're in a good job, you want to try and get to a great job. But we do content. Terry, you're killing it at the moment. You're almost 500k subscribers, right? But
Yeah.
but you want to get to 1 million, you want to get to 2 million, 3 million, etc. So you're not going to rest on 500k when you get there, are you? You're not going to sit there one day and go 500k, that's me, I'm done now. You're going to be like, okay, sick, we've hit this target. The next target 750k. Next target after that's 1 million. So I understand it from a human standpoint. You always want to elevate, and maybe in his mind he reached the limit of where he could get to with Liverpool. From a Liverpool fan perspective, it's annoying that we're losing a player on a free. I'd be annoyed if we're losing Trent for a fee, let alone losing him on a free.
Yeah.
But I still have more frustration with the club than I do with the player, because we knew from the moment he signed his contract 4 years ago that his contract expires in 2025. What did you do in 2022, 2023, 2024, and now in 2025 for it to get here? Because I don't think everyone's coming up with these conspiracy theories that he only signed a 4-year contract because he wanted to move to Real Madrid in 4 years. And I don't think that was the case at all. You look at what Trent said in the past about this means more, what it means to play for Liverpool, wanting to be captain of Liverpool, and all these things. I don't think Trent would have said those if his plan was to ultimately move to Real Madrid in 4 years' time. I think something's happened within the last year that's turned his head. Now, that could be ambition of the club and ambition of Real Madrid. It could be a potential change of position at Real Madrid. For all we know, he could go there and potentially be one of the centre midfielders in rotation there, as well as a right back. We won't know what, in my opinion, where all the dominoes fall until we know what happens with Salah and Virgil, because then that suggests to me that the club are lowballing potentially or not compromising on these contract terms. And then we also have to see what happens at Real Madrid as well. Either way, it stinks because we are now needing a right back, and any right back we try and go and buy now, the club who we are going to buy from is going to go, well, you lost Trent. We're going to need an extra 20% on what you want to pay us. So that's where it leaves us. But I mean, if you're going to run a business like this, you got to take the good with the bad.
There are a lot of conspiracy theories that are floating around, and I have a few theories as well that I wanted to throw by you, just get your take as a Liverpool fan. I think FSG are the biggest criminals in this particular circumstance because I haven't seen any report. I've seen Liverpool fans today and yesterday state he basically flirted with us. He said he loved us. He said he would sign, but never did. I don't remember reading any stories like that in the past 2 years.
Exactly.
So for me, the fact there's been zero noise, that there's been zero, I think he has turned down some deals and said he's going to leave on a free. And I just think there's two theories I have here. One, FSG they've tried and tried and tried. They just kept on trying. They've gone with, let's risk losing him for free to keep him rather than selling him. Because if you sold him 2 years ago, he
Or in the
definitely,
summer.
Yeah. Well, if you saw him in the summer or 2 years ago, anytime, he definitely wouldn't be a Liverpool player this summer, right? He's gone already. So
Yeah.
maybe their strategy was we'll take the risk of him leaving for free, and in that time we may be able to convince him. And the story today has suggested he's been offered the most amount of money of any English player ever in the league.
I don't
So that
buy that.
was
Sorry to cut you, Terry. I don't buy that. I don't buy
well,
it.
but this is where the concern, and there's multiple things
Mm.
going on in my head is
Yeah.
if it's true that what you're saying and that it's the FSG didn't do it and they're briefing that because what they want it to appear, because right now I would say the noise is making FSG get away with murder and
Fact.
Trent's being attacked. And this is where I think Liverpool fans have got to be careful to not open up to not allow the fox in the hen house on these scenarios. Because I think Mo Salah and VVD will be treated the same way by FSG. I think if they don't sign new deals, the rhetoric from the club will be, we offered Salah 400 grand a week, but he said no, he wanted 5. Where actually the truth might be, well, he wanted
Somewhere in the middle.
425 and he wanted a 2-year deal. But they will also paint the picture that he is that
32 years old.
they're greedy. So I think the most sensible thing for Liverpool fans to do is to keep their powder dry, to keep their counsel, to be frustrated that Trent's leaving before you start abusing this man who is, as far as I can see,
Giving everything to
the most successful academy graduate in your club's at least Premier League history in terms of what he has won you. Before you will turn on him and say things you cannot take back, that you cannot pull away, especially if you're involved in social media, because we're all going to remember that you said it. I would wait to see the outcome of these other scenarios. What I also thought, and I'd love to get your view on this, is the idea is just Trent. You've got DVD and Salah, plus you've also got Konate and Allison's contracts running down, and there's
Luis
a lot
Diaz.
of theories. Lewis, that they might all be running out of contract. And I had this thought today while streaming, and it was just maybe they want to renew all of them as a club, but they have a budget of their transfer cap, and all these players are now asking for you wouldn't. It wouldn't be weird if any of those players, barring Diaz and Konate, we'll get to those two, the other 4 we've mentioned, if they're asking for 350 grand a week plus, no one's saying that's weird because of how good they are. You've probably then got Konate that's saying, well, they're on that. They're going to get 400 grand, 350 grand. I want 250. Luis Diaz, if you want to keep, he's probably saying, well, I want 200, 250. Barcelona are willing to give me that. And maybe FSG have looked at this and said, well, if we give Trent what he wants, then we have to give the others. And maybe there's this element of, well, if we end up letting a couple go and paint them as greedy, we can then give the rest that money because if Trent was offered 400 grand a week, just say he was, and he said no to it, that's theoretically £400,000 a week spread between 4 other players now to make it easier to get to their targets. And I just thought whether or not this is an element of you guys having a budget, too many players are asking for too much, and there's just simply going to be some casualties. But at some point, because I wouldn't expect all 5, 6 to leave on freeze. I can't fathom that happening. But maybe I'm well off with thinking that you know more about your club, because it does seem weird that so many of your top players are being allowed to run their contracts down at the same time.
So what it is the strategy from FSG is, and this is what it's been since we've kind of had them as owners. If you give a player a 5-year contract, instead of renewing maybe at 3 years or 2 years, they'll aim to renew in the last 18 months. And I think as a result of that, the longer they stay on the current contract, the more money they save, right? Because if you upgrade the contract up to 3 years, then instead of paying, let's say, 100k a week, you may have to, for the last 2 years of the official first contract, you're paying an extra 50k a week. Let's say if it goes up to 150, they don't want to do that. Plus, the only player that's gone past the threshold of what they deem as feasible is Salah. Salah's on 350k. The reason Salah's on that is, one, because he's one of our best players easily, and 2, the commercial revenue that he brings into the club is a whole nother level in comparison to everyone else. Virgil, I think, is on 220. Before that, Thiago was on 200. Then I think Matip was on 180. Thiago and Matip both left. So in my opinion, that money could have been, the money that they left with could have been spread over.
That makes sense. Yeah. So
but they haven't done that. But I think that the issue with Virgil and Salah's contracts, I think they both want 3-year deals or 4-year deals. I don't think the club, looking at their ages, are willing to do that.
Mm.
I think Virgil and Salah both walk as well.
Wow. I mean, listen, viewers would love your opinions on that. All three going.
If that happens, by the way, this weekly show that we have, Terry, is it's gonna be
finished.
Done, yeah, so.
Do you know what's interesting? I know Liverpool fans will hate me saying this, but I think it holds an element of truth. And I'm only saying this because I would feel the same way. If you guys have won the league, if it's announced, especially if it's announced before or too soon after you've lifted it, I do think this leaves a dampener on your season.
100%. 100%. Yeah, we've all said it. It's a dark cloud looming over the success of the season. It's a massive dark cloud. And it's annoying because the last time we won the Premier League, there was a global pandemic. And then this time, we're potentially looking down the face of losing 3 of our most influential players. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's, again, as a United fan, it's funny to see. But I've put myself, you hear actors, like, they put themselves into the shoes of the characters.
Yeah.
I've actually spent some time today thinking, how would I feel how would I felt in sort of 2008 as we're walking up the stairs to lift that Champions League after already winning the Premier League, if I knew then, at that moment, that Rio Ferdinand, Ronaldo and Rooney were all going for free. There's no way you're not thinking about it. And there'll be Liverpool fans online that will say, no way, Terry, there is no dampener. We'll get through this. We'll buy better players. I've said this on many shows and I'll say it again. I don't think Liverpool will fall off and be dead. Do you know why? Because even in that 30-year period where you didn't win a league title, there was only really 4 or 5 seasons where you were dog shit. Most of those campaigns, and I always say this, Gerrard only played in crap teams. I lived those moments. You guys were nearly always in the top 3 predictions every year. People should go back and search what journalists and pundits said, like who was going to win the league, like predictions from 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99. Liverpool always had journalists that would go, I think they could do it this year. I think they could do it. So you always had a good team. So I don't think you're falling off.
Yeah.
But what I do feel, there is a solid argument to say Van Dijk's your greatest ever centre-back. Yeah. There's an argument to say Salah's your greatest ever attacker. Yeah. And I think it's a fact that Trent's your greatest ever right-back. And yes, you can buy very good players. Yes, you can create another very good team. Yeah. But if you go through the history of English football, how many English teams have lost their greatest or one of their greatest ever players in a certain position, and the next guys come in and been as good or improved? It's rare. How many great teams come to the end of their cycle and another great team is created instantly? Even Fergie. In our living, because neither you or I lived the 70s or the 80s, great Liverpool teams. The only living memory we have of someone doing that is Fergie. But between 2001 and 2000, at the end of his first great team, it wasn't until the end of 2007 that we saw another great team being made. So there was still like a 5-6 year period where we won trophies, we won league titles, but you wouldn't call that a great Fergie team. It took that time again to re-bolster that squad and adapt to and this is the other thing, it isn't just you being good, it's adapting to this team. In that time we saw Arsenal go invincible, Chelsea got the money, all these little things happen. So listen, I understand why you're stressed out. And what I do appreciate about yourself is at least you're being honest. I think there's so many Liverpool fans that are just you can smell the lie, but it's like, no, I'm not bothered.
I'm bothered.
I bet you are.